Hello, today I am on an educational trip with the Thai young ambassadors here in Singapore, where educational system is one of the best in the world. Today I also have an opportunity to visit here at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where a group interview was held and answered by the Minister of State. He has talked about the bilateral relationships between Thailand and Singapore, and also the bilateral relationships between Singapore and other ASEAN countries, whether to be in the economic sections, educational system, and trade and tourism.
On this occasion, the minister has stressed the important and crucial point for Thailand, Singapore, and the rest of the ASEAN countries to work together as a whole towards integrity and development. As ASEAN, or the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, share a common slogan of 10 nations, one vision, the minister said that for all ASEAN countries, nobody is better than the other. In terms of ASEAN, every country is depending on each other and bring out its best in making the region to be attractive, whether to be in trade, economic, tourism, education, and many more.
I believe ASEAN as a community is a very complementary organization. No one country can say they are the best in that particular without needing another country for some of their needs. So you look at tourism, ecotourism for example. We cannot produce it, we cannot provide it. We don't have the space, we don't have the natural landscape to do this. We have to go to places like Thailand, Indonesia, and so forth. If you look at entertainment that is perhaps more suited to tight spaces and entertaining very intensely with technology, and Singapore would be able to do this because we have the people as well as the industry to support it. So I think in that sense, the ASEAN is not one where we are of rivalry. It's I would say healthy competition, but we complement each other. We like, for example, tourists who come to Singapore. There are about 13 million tourists who come to Singapore to move onwards towards the other countries in Thailand.
On the bilateral relationships between Singapore and Thailand, the minister said that regardless the internal political conflict in Thailand, Singapore and Thailand always have good relationship between each other. According to the minister, Singapore depends a lot on Thailand, especially in terms of foods.
Well, the relationship between Thailand and Singapore is a very important one and dates back, I think, for the first visit by Kim Chulalongkorn in 1871, that many years ago. And there's still an elephant monument that's set up at the old Parliament House. We still keep it to cherish the visit by the Thai king. And since then, the relationship between our two countries and our two people have been multifaceted and very positive. More so nowadays. There are a lot of exchanges at the people-to-people level. People from Thailand come to Singapore a lot. So do Singaporeans. They love to go to Thailand for their holidays. Also, the exchanges at the business level is has been very good. It's growing. And I think these are all augurs well for the ASEAN community vision in 2015. Thailand has, it has domestic issues to handle at this point of time. At the same time, it's going out again to build relationships and bilateral ties and enhance trade. In fact, trade has not stopped between our two countries despite whatever we all are facing. I think this is because of the goodwill and the strong relationship we have had for a very long time. We depend a lot on Thailand for our food, for example. I think most of our rice would have come from Thailand. The best quality rice that we ever got. So you get used to that it's very hard to find a substitute. And of course our fish, our agriculture product come from Thailand. And what we offer to Thailand, of course, are the things that Singapore is strong in. Businesses that hub in Singapore that require connectivity to the world, and therefore Thailand can always tap on such expertise, availability of funds and so forth to help Thailand grow. I think it's a very complementary economic existence. In fact, the relationship has never gone bad.
Okay.
It's always been good, you just can get better.
For other sectors such as education, tourism, and logistics, the minister said that Singapore values the vision of the AEC. He believes that all ASEAN countries will be stronger together as one community, despite the diversity amongst the countries.
Singapore values the vision for ASEAN Community of 2015. More so because the world we will be stronger together as an ASEAN community. We are diverse, but we know that we have common objective and we want to help each other prosper and to give all our citizens the better life. So as a whole, Thailand, the ASEAN community provides a very diverse background, which is both cities which are thriving, as well as a rural landscape and beautiful sceneries that everyone can enjoy. All ASEAN countries are very well connected by air. And I think the nature of ASEAN is one where we are a lot of sea and very little land in between. So in that sense, with the coming of the budget airlines as well as the cheaper means to connect, there's already an existing way for the ASEAN, people of ASEAN to visit each other. Looking forward, of course, we'd like to see more connectivity where possible, either by ship or by land. Hopefully from Singapore, we can go all the way straight to Thailand, either by train or by road. Well, for tourism, I mean, we offer both complementary attractions. Like I mentioned just now, Thailand offers very natural ecotourism, for example, or even beautiful, pristine beaches, resort type of tourism. Whereas Singapore is more intense shopping, technology, fashion, high fashion, and so forth. Which means that for tourists who go to Thailand, they have an attraction to come, a reason to come to Singapore to do the other kind of activities that tourists like to do. In the same way too, when tourists come to Singapore, they like to go to Thailand to then chill out and do something quite different. So when we go out to advertise ourselves, even Singapore Airlines, we do not just say come to Singapore. We say come to the region because it's very attractive. Logistics is going to be a win-win for all the countries within ASEAN because trade goods need to move. And both of us have different strengths, different connectivity, and for different purposes. So we are, for example, where we can be, we are a place where we can, all the shipping routes come to and from which we can distribute goods very efficiently to the rest of ASEAN. And then for Thailand, they have other possibilities that they can offer to Singapore. All the time. In fact, there are many structured people-to-people exchange as well as government-to-government exchange. As an example, the Ministry of Education have a structured school twinning between 10 schools in Singapore and 10 schools in Thailand. And the students from each school visit each other. In total, I think about 1,000 students and teachers go to Thailand to go to their twinning school to embark on projects, to exchange culturally and so forth.
It is no doubt that Singapore has long prepared its country and the people for the AEC. It is now a matter of time for the rest of the ASEAN nations, including Thailand, to raise tension and awareness and be ready to brace the AEC once it's implemented in 2015. Nirasha Malisak Lumia, ASEAN Newsroom, Singapore.